Brat Halloween is upon us. I guess the pumpkin doesn't fall from the tree. Just ignore me. Last week, Charlie dropped the widely anticipated remix of her widely successful record, Brat, titled Brat, and it's completely different but also still Brat. And you know what? She didn't miss once. I missed the days of when a remix album would drop literally the same year as its counterpart and just cap off an insane run from that artist by being completely different. And that's exactly what this remix record does. But since there's not really a conventional way for me to cover this and I'm not going to give a proper review, I'll just plug my own review for Brat right here. I wanted to go through all these remix tracks and categorize them on a scale that speaks to the spirit of what these songs make us feel. Spoiler, all of them are great.
I'm just living that life while you're sitting in your dad's basement.
Out of all the remixes that were released as singles, I'd have to say this one is my least favorite by default, but the A.G. Cook version flips the original Finn Keen beat into one that's befitting for Addison Rae, who gives a solid performance with her it girl bravado matching Charlie's attitude as well. And the new hook and how it ties into ceaseless public discourse around famous women and whether or not they actually deserve their success is pretty cool and familiar, but distant enough from the OG Von Dutch to be total fire.
Sometimes I just wanna rewind, wanna turn back time.
The Bladee feature here really aesthetically changes the song a ton, and the synth-laden backdrop gives it a typical cloud rap feel. But this is still through and through a Charli XCX song at its core. Also, the lyrical content revolving around competition and stress, and how it plays into ego versus self-doubt is incredibly appealing and would have fit on the original Brat album.
When I go to the club, I wanna hear the classics.
This might be the second most altered track here, with the sped up Club Classics pre-hook feeding into less of a pulsing underground UK rave track and more of a coked out psych EDM big beat that's endlessly groovy and fun. Plus the inclusion of 365 and its elements here really make you think that Charli got super creative and put everything she had into this record. So taking that diverse instrumentation and the exciting BB Trickz feature, this is the moment for me on the album when it was clear that she was going to defy convention at every turn.
Hey, yo, we're rubbing on the beat.
Sweet.
Cameras flashing at the scene. We're rubbing in Charlie, pull up to the party.
This one feels a lot like an EDM rap posse cut, and I am totally here for it because it's awesome, as Young Lean is the one who sets the vocal tone over the original 360 beat. So Robyn and Charli are able to slip it to a rap sung delivery that turns out to be a whole vibe and adds a lot of texture to its predecessor, while also delivering on its flaunting, gaudy, celebratory nature as well.
365 go. 365 go. 365 go.
Okay, having Shygirl featured over apocalyptic industrial pop EDM is something that I expected when they announced the track list, but even in actuality, it's packed with surprises. The pitch down vocals and the screeching synths that build in the mix are like Rave 101, as it essentially remixes a song that already has some kind of rework in it. So the fact that Charli can tap into this instrumental again and mine more depth from it, giving us more of an exploratory instrumental experience, to me that's super impressive. A song with Julian Casablancas that has a slight tilt that sounds like The Strokes? Yeah, count me in. That being said, the Owner of a Lonely Heart interpolation really works here, and it's musically cohesive with the direction of this remix's piano-struck glitch pop alt-rock. Charli gels with Julian's lead vocals, and while mileage may vary on her strained hook, it's a modification that plays into the wildly different stylistic shift, so I think it works. By far the most anticipated remix of the whole bunch, Ariana Grande's feature has been discussed to death prior to release in terms of what she could say or how she could fit into this aesthetic. And the result is vastly different than what I thought we'd get, with Ariana's deliberations on others commenting on her appearance and the old her versus the new her being something that I've wanted to hear her perspective on. And I feel like this was the correct avenue for that. At the same time, the restructuring of the original beat into buzzing synth bass lines and 2010s synthetic EDM drums really helps this track gain its ascendant atmosphere, as well as a triumphant payoff, so I can see this becoming a legitimate hit because of it. Okay, so this might actually be the most altered track here, going from 2 minutes to 4 minutes in length due to the 1975's appearance on the track. And it's one of the only moments on the remix that elevates what was already there for me. The stark, echoing piano keys gave me chills, because it reminded me specifically of the 1975's 2018 record, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships, which I don't think we've properly recognized the influence that this album's had on the Baroque pop scene, and the chain reaction of influence that it's had on alt-electropop in the 2020s.
Look at me now, better than before. They wanna be like
rather than spiraling into a relation-based track with her Drop That Kitty collaborator Tinashe, who's also having an amazing year. I love how the thematic aspects of this new version deal with the back-to-back successes that Charlie and Tinashe have had in 2024, especially after being on the indie pop circuit for over a decade. The highly melodic pop EDM synth passages and the glammy trap hi-hats are exuberant and are reminiscent of an early 2010s Charlie track in the best way.
Okay, here's the plan. I wanna fly you out to Amsterdam. I gotta be her to fuck you in.
I gotta say, the repurposing of the bridge of this track to make it the chorus is absolutely genius. Shifting from glitzy 80s Madonna electropop to a full-on house beat that centers Troye Sivan in the middle of it, and it's mesmerizing. The rise and fall of the dynamics make it a pitch-perfect club record. It reminded me of some 90s French house beats, but simultaneously it's little splashes of the original Brat beat, keep it from being generic or dated.
Now I wanna think about all the good times. Me and AG on Mulholland, crazy Uber, straight from a video.
I think this song could essentially be explained as the reason for why a Brat remix is necessary. Contextualization. The original So I was a mournful apology for moments that Charlie lost that she could have experienced with Sophie before her untimely passing. So in natural opposition to that, Charlie states that she wants to remember the good times. And I really felt her appreciation for her friendship with Sophie here. To me, that was a beautiful way to add more meaning to the original So I. And in tandem with the original, it's a full-blown picture of loving someone that you deeply care about. Coupled with a quicker backing beat that's more levitating, Charlie understands that tone matters, and it leaves you with a hopeful feeling that she's reconciled her loss. Personally, I didn't think it was possible that Apple could get any catchier, because I mean, the original exploded on TikTok for a reason. But with the Japanese house appearing to share the chorus with Charlie and lend a guest verse, I was on cloud 9 with this remix because it's simply euphoric. Not much has changed on the instrumental end, and maybe it's a little glossier in the mix, but substituting the final bridge on the original mix and making it the hook of this track is another huge win, adding a renewed sense of value behind the song's structure.
Catch a face in the window pane. What's up? It's me, that's mine.
Speaking of structure, when you have Caroline Polachek on your song, you have to be ready that she will alter the fabric of everything that you're doing. And Charlie's understood that since New Shapes in 2022. This version, however, of Everything is Romantic is the Caroline show, and having the instrumental as stripped back as it is really allows us to experience the allure and power of Caroline's voice, while supplying us with a hypnotic, down-tempo indie alt-pop gem that's filled to the brim with character and drama. And honestly, it just made me want to go back and listen to Desire I Want to Turn Into You, because really, everything that Caroline touches is perfect.
Girl, you walk like a bitch. When I was 10, someone said that, and it's just a
Practically broke the internet when it came out, and it still deserves the same level of attention. The Lorde feature here gets to close the ambiguity out from Charlie's side on the album version, and overall, I love how both of them connect their ideological and introspective viewpoints on fame and microaggressions, and basically how the industry is the villain here. There's no change on the instrumental side, and there doesn't need to be, because it's enough getting Lorde to make up with Charlie here, and authoritatively address how important mental health is, especially in times of overwhelming success. The 2011 Bon Iver chamber pop flourishes on this reimagining of Brat's most vulnerable track was definitely an intriguing choice, and Justin Vernon himself sounds heavenly and ethereal on this. But it's Charlie's diversion from her rugged vocals to something a little bit more touched up that shows how the diametric opposition to the OG version was a great way to find opportunity in storytelling. The themes are even more relatable on this, and Charlie's fear of losing time is relatable and terrifying, but to offset it with such a calm instrumental that has a slight tinge of electronic pounding on its naturalistic walls demonstrates Charlie's continuously enveloping versatility.
It's the lacy black hair with the little bows, the ones I picked out for you.
I mean, this is probably the hottest song of the year next to Nasty. Not only is this in the top 5 of my entire year, but the production from The Dare and Phineas is the grungiest, slimy New York City club dance beat that I've heard in a long time. And to have the lyrical depravity match the oral atmosphere so perfectly, it's just a total masterclass in electroclash. Cap it off with a genius Daft Punk interpolation, effortlessly sexy vocals from Billie Eilish that indulge in her whispered timbre, as well as her overall playful attitude. You got an explosive outro to one of the best remix albums of the decade.
Ooh, these bitches rip off. Wish they could be OG, they not. We going psycho.
So Charlie releases well after I had filmed, but this is peak 2010s throwback hit energy in the best way possible. Kesha sounds fantastic over this chaotic dance beat, where you practically feel this sweat dripping onto the dance floor, and Charlie's vocals are as seductive as ever. It has all the ingredients of being a club hit, so I wouldn't be surprised if you start hearing this everywhere. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this star-studded re-envisioning of this fantastic record, and I really hope it inspires other artists to take the same path of interrogating their own work, reinterpreting it as the audience makes it theirs and owns it for a while. The reason why Brat was so popular in the first place was its strength in being able to casually use its disposition, its confidence, its boldness, to establish new vernacular and emphasize a landmark cultural shift in style, not just in music, but fashion and aesthetics as well. And this remix isn't really an inverse or a retread of that, but instead a dynamic reflection of it. Further proof that this era is extremely revolutionary and a gift that keeps on giving. And that's because of its unwillingness to cater to expectations. And that's really Brat. Alright, that's all I got. See ya!